or other work that you've put out because of it, keep that in mind and keep that as an open option. For me, I'll start mixing by, if the root of the song is going to be like, pop R&B, that means it's bass, like low end, and the vocals. So for me, it'll be like, I Can Tell You Missing Love started by bringing up the bass and the kick and getting those moving together. And then immediately it was vocals. Like vocals is the next thing I put in, and getting my vocals and stuff perfect. So for like 2.5 hours or less, it really depends, I'm listening just to the kick and the bass and where my vocals are sitting, because everything else is going around it. I'm not trying to do top down mixing where, it's the last thing that pops in. I'm doing all my low end and building it up. It's kind of like, what's the most important, and starting with those elements. Because if you start with the elements, chances are those are always going to be the most prominent thing. So for me, it was that one's like, okay, we got to have the R&B low end moving. It's going to be the vocals. Then I'm bringing up like a bit of guitar stuff. Then I'm filling in the drum kit. Then I start bringing in the keys and things, and maybe I'll mute the guitars and then bring back the keys to make, if I think they need to be more forefront. It's just knowing what needs to be the focus, like the voice leader at all the times. If the vocals are the voice leader of the song, start with the vocals. If the guitar is, if it's like an amazing rock track or like, jazz pop thing, and the vocals are kind of like an afterthought or an extra instrument, start with those vocals. Like, you're not going to mix John Mayer's vocals second. You're not going to mix his guitar second. It's not going to be an afterthought that you pop in later. You should freaking start with that. That's probably the lead thing that started writing the song itself. So it's starting with like knowing what the voice leader is of the track and having a listen through of that stuff. I'll toss open a whole bunch of like auxiliaries at this point I've got of like certain delays and reverbs I like to do different things. But if something's not working, I'm super happy to like change it off. Like, oh, it's not a plate reverb this time. It's a spring with a saturated, with radiator on it, and RC20 doing some, VHS tape warble. And that's just kind of the thing. But you got to know, when you're building the song up, where something's hitting emotionally, what's the voice leader of it, and where things need to be when you move something. If you're changing a snare and increasing in volume or something, how the hell does that walk over top of the vocal? Does it change how your transitions work in regards to that super hooky guitar riff that you wrote? So it's like, it's just being super aware of that. Like, you can have all of the tools and tricks in the world, but if you don't know when to pull them out, then, or you're pulling them out to put on everything, then you're going to end up with maybe just an amalgamation of random cool ideas, but you don't actually have a good mix in the end. It's kind of like a carpenter's got, 200 specialty tools, but he's only using a few of them at the time, because that's what he needs to do to get the job done, and then going with the accents on kind of the other stuff. But yeah, you can read all the books and watch all the mix of the masters, but if you don't know why you're implementing stuff, who the hell cares? So start with the voice leaders. The rest of the song should kind of come together from there, and should make a bunch of sense. Should be in the
that was totally the vibe I got also from the Missing Love track. It's just like bass, kick, vocals. I mean, that was like all I needed, to be engaged with it. And that was it, and everything else was just like, icing on the cake.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And it's like, then in picking the right players was the easiest thing for me production wise, because it was, I already kind of had like the guitarist Alvin Brendan and the bass player Derek DiFilippo. The drummer Tim Prosnick is like stupidly good. He just actually dropped a Drumeo video I mixed for him. So we did Drumeo earlier in this year. It's got like 500,000 plays or something on it now. And then we released.
You got to send me that.
Yeah, I will. I actually just posted on my Facebook if you go and take a peek. But there's also his, we just did like the main release. So we just did like a Spotify, YouTube release on it that I got to mix. So Tim, though, is the person that brought the grooves together, because he's such a good drummer that I know I just need to kind of set him up and let him go. And he's such a good drummer in the fact that he didn't actually listen to the songs for 2 weeks when I sent all the demo, the stuff to him beforehand. He walked in not hearing the music and pretty much killing it in 2 takes. Which is frustrating, but I have to trust this process. Like, I was gambling a little bit there on that one, but those players together really made it. But the song came together from just that chorus. I heard another artist named Young Friend that I was working with doing a single with, which we never ended up releasing. But through listening to all of his extra songs, I heard this Missing Love track he wrote with a friend. And I'm like, that's for Tisa. I recognized immediately this was from another artist because I know he's not going to release anything like this. It's not on brand for him whatsoever. And this song needs to be for this woman. I went like, Tisa, this is the fourth track on your EP. And she's like, yep, cool. And I'm like, sweet. I've got the live day booked already for the couple other tracks. We're going to have these 3 people do it. Let's, finish up the verses. I brought in another friend of mine to help finish up kind of what the verses and everything was going to be. And it flushed out the arrangement and then pop those people in. So off the top, it was always just about that vocal and then everything else that helped that vocal groove. And that was some 3 stupidly good players.
That's awesome. I didn't realize that you had found the song that someone else wrote and brought it to the artist.
Oh yeah,
super cool.
I love that stuff.
You're super involved in all the aspects of the song creation.
For some artists, absolutely. For others, I have no problem taking a back seat on it. It just depends. And with Tisa, she's like my artist development client. Like she's my person that I want to dedicate that other extra stuff to because she's super receptive to it. She's really good at learning voraciously and improving. And she's really open to trying lots of stuff. Like there's tons of artists where if you suggest playing another person's song, I'd never work with them again. They would think I'm just the worst person in the world to suggest that they couldn't write that track themselves, which, is unfortunate. Because there's so many good writers and so many good performers for different songs. Like you can match the right person with the right writer and do it. I mean, freaking look at Elton John. He wrote nothing, very little of the actual lyrics, and it was all his other writing partner. But who else but Elton John could bring some of those to life? If you're not open to that,
what was his name? Bernie, but
I think it's. I want to say Sanders, but that's not right.
Something
I can't remember.
BT, something like that. Like.
Bloody terrific.
I'm blanking on it.
Yeah, no, the guy's phenomenal. So it's like for me, that's a very mature artist is one that is open to taking influences and stuff from other writers and other creators. Like that's how some of the coolest songs are written is in like writing camps with 3 writers and a producer or 2 writers and a producer and coming up with something that ends up in the hands of somebody else that knocks it out of the park. Like, I mean, this is something that's super popular for pop writers that you'll have 10 writers or something on it for one song in the end. And maybe you didn't need all 10 of them, but the fact that you brought in that outside influence and that outside emotion for this person was the best job. And that's when you got to learn how to Reuben. That was like a Reuben moment for me where I'm like, I just really need to bring the right people together. I found the right songwriter. I got the right vocalist who had a slot in the album that needed to come through. And that song took easily the shortest amount of time to do because the song was just so good. And I knew I found the right person.
Wow. Any tips for being the connection person? Like, I don't know. How do you connect all these people?
Well, you go back in Secret Sonics and you listen to your interview with William Bowser and you listen to how he talks about just being open to, like, honestly, when he said that, it was so fulfilling for me because he nailed it. Know when you're the right person for the right job or have the right knowledge and be totally open to sharing it with other people. Like I'll pass clients along to other producers and other studios in town when I know I'm not the right guy. And that's going to do more for me in the long run than trying to take on a project that's incorrect. So you know that you've got someone that kills it with social media and marketing, hook them up with that. Even if no money's changing hands and it's not a gig, they get to meet those person. You've got a lawyer and someone who's getting into some more complex writing and maybe a label thing. It just introduce them off the top and you're going to be able to do better connection. Just know what this person's skill set is. Don't try and do anything disingenuous with them. Like you don't have to lie about a job you're going to get them or something. Just surround yourself with people that are open to meeting other people, and your connections are kind of just going to grow themselves. Same with the writers and stuff. Getting those people together, and even if they're not working with me, they never work with me again. I'm proud as hell that I got that team of people together to produce tracks, and now they're going to go work with another huge producer. Like, I already know I did my stuff on it. Sure, I'd like to follow them all the way through, but you can't be mad at that part of creation, even if it's just getting people to meet and send them on their way.
Yeah. There's something beautiful about
make me
Totally. You're channeling your inner Jerusalem.
I played the heck out of
or Eastern Europe, I guess. What you played the
we did that in high school. We did Fiddler on the Roof.
Nice.
We didn't have anyone that could play fiddle, so we just had backing tracks. But it was a very poor high school.
It's a classic play.
Yeah, it's amazing. Anyways, just connect the right people, and that's a skill in itself.
Yeah.
It's just people.
It's a beautiful thing. Amazing, dude. So, dude, we've talked about so many things and gone on so many interesting little tangents. But Braeden, tell me. I guess I asked this question to everybody. What's one thing that you kind of wish you knew when you were getting started that you'd want to impart on somebody who's at the beginning of their journey? It could be something that you either did right or did wrong.
That's a phenomenal question. The main part is to understand that there's so many different ways to do this job. Even if you have a phenomenal mentor that you look up to and you love taking on all their processes, know that's only one way of doing it. If you're someone new and you get really stoked on the mannerisms and production of one person, awesome, adopt it, learn from it, but constantly be looking for other phenomenal approaches that you can bring into yourself. Never think that you're kind of like done learning if you found something that's working right now. You have to be able to adapt on it, and that just comes from being open to knowing that there's more ways to do something than just what you're approaching. Even for myself, I'm very aware of it, like the no booth thing. There's people that need to be by themselves, and they don't want that producer like that. And when you can recognize who needs what process the best, you're going to be the most valuable and versatile producer, mixer, engineer that you could possibly be. Wow.
Love it. Dude, this has been so fun. Thank you so much for joining me and sharing your wisdom and the secret sauce about getting the fattest bass tone and so much more. How can the audience find you on the internet?
I'm probably most active on Instagram. That would be at bpockets. I'm going to post stuff that are like cool things I'm doing, techniques. Sometimes it's just a snippet of cool people playing cool music. If you want to check me out on Facebook, you can take my name from the link and hit me with a friend request. Don't just ask me to like your page right off the top though, but reach out. I'm happy to meet other people. And if it's, even just a quick conversation right now and I can watch you grow later, that's freaking cool too. No, this is the name of the game, is to kind of network and grow with the music industry, because, none of us are islands. So yeah, at bpockets on Instagram, Braeden Rangno on Facebook. Hit me up.
All right, I'll post links to all that stuff in the show notes and to other stuff that we touched on. Braeden, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to get to meet you, and I hope to stay in touch.
Ben, thank you so much for having me on. This has been awesome, and I hope everything I said today makes sense.
Yeah, no, it totally did.
Awesome,
absolutely. Man. Yeah, man. So stay safe out there and take care.
All right. Talk to you soon, man. Have a great day.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Secret Sonics. I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Braeden as much as I did. If you enjoyed this episode or any of our other episodes, I'd super appreciate it if you would go to Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating and review. It really helps the show. And if you could share this episode or your favorite episode with a friend or two, that would also really help the show move forward. In addition to that, you can find us on social media. Just search for Secret Sonics. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. And you can email me at secretsonics@gmail.com if you have any comments, feedback, guests you might want to recommend, anything like that. So that's about it for now. Until next time, I hope you guys have a great week. Stay safe out there and dig in. Bye-bye.